DFL leaders in Minnesota's Senate brought their budget goals to the Northland today, pitching a plan they say will make life more affordable for working families. And Northern News Now's Kyrie Johnson joins us live from the newsroom to break down what community members told those lawmakers about what would help their lives right now. Kyrie?
Yeah, Dan, budget pressures were front and center in today's discussion, and these DFL leaders say it's critical for them to hear directly from local service providers and families feeling the biggest squeeze as they shape their new legislation. At Hermantown City Hall, State Senators Grant Hochschild and Majority Leader Aaron Murphy met with residents and service providers, hearing input on their family budget plan.
So we're looking at a holistic package. This is the way that we can target the relief for families and their budgets rather than just looking at sort of these talking points.
And a big part of that conversation here in the Northland is childcare.
We do have to address housing, healthcare, food security, and then childcare as well. And it's breaking down the silos and continuing to come together and talk about solutions that work for rural Minnesota.
Hochschild says the Senate is still pushing affordability bills, despite what he calls House gridlock.
We need to relieve families and protect our citizens while the House is just gridlock and getting nothing done.
But Senate Republicans pushed back, arguing the DFL plan doesn't address the root causes of rising costs.
I mean, this is one of the things that we've been very, very focused on is how do we reduce the cost of living for Minnesotans? And yet Democrats have been doing nothing but raising taxes over the last 3 years.
DFL leaders say constituents want lawmakers to work across party lines and deliver results.
We need to listen to Minnesotans, and over time, conversations that we have one by one and community by community shift people's perspectives or deepen people's understanding, and that gives way then to making progress.
Murphy and Hochschild say they'll keep taking feedback as the legislative debate moves forward at the Capitol this spring. In the newsroom, Kyrie Johnson, Northern News Now.